For such a long time now, like ever since hitting 1,000 subscribers, I've really wanted to do a Q&A, so here it is, the first ProduceVGM Q&A in history. I've got 14 questions today, I think. It's either 13 or 14. And they're all from people in our community, people who I'm friends with, just lots of cool people who have helped me get to this point. And I'm going to answer them today, and this video is going to be very unscripted because I'm bored and exhausted and I do not feel like editing a lot of stuff today. So I'm just going to get these questions answered. It'll be quite calm, hopefully, because I'm just going to be rambling here for like God knows how long. And I'll get started then. So our first question, it actually comes from someone in our server, Naomi. What inspired you to expand ProvEdition in the first place? So, assuming that I get what you mean with this question, I'm going to assume why you're asking why I took Terraria ProvEdition like all the way to the end. And that is mainly because of the existing Terraria soundtrack, well, attempts at like a custom Terraria soundtrack that both Enway and CD Music attempted to do in their own styles at some point. I really liked those, which is what obviously sparked the creation of ProvEdition to begin with, but because they never got around to finishing theirs, that's really what motivated me to want to finish my own. And yes, it took me quite a while, but I'm someone who had way too much free time, so that's how I managed to get it done, pretty much. But yeah, I hope that answers your question. And if any of you are seeing this who've asked questions, if I misinterpret your question, please feel free to comment in the comments that like what you actually wanted to ask me, because chances are with some of these I'm kind of stupid and I might not understand them correctly, but in the comments I'll answer anything that I missed, basically. Okay, question 2. This is from Meep. When is Chaos Incarnate Remix dropping? Okay, question 3. Who is this one from? I'm kind of got them all like loaded up as screenshots on Discord right now. This is from AA, who is also a member of our server. Tacos or burritos? Okay, this is a good question, but it's kind of going to be a boring answer because I've never tried a burrito before, so I'm going to have to automatically go with tacos on that one. I've had them a few times before, but they're not for about 5 years, I don't think, so yeah, that's that one answered, I guess. Sorry, that was a bit of a boring answer. Next one is from Spooder. How detailed of a history can you give of the games you've played? Good question. Well, I know for a start, the first ever game I can remember playing, it was when I was like 4 or 5 years old. I got a Nintendo DS for, I think it might have been my birthday, and the game that my parents got us with that was Diddy Kong Racing, which was like, it felt like, from what I remember, it was just a really low budget version of Mario Kart, whichever Mario Kart was out at the time. But I was really bad at it from what I remember. But I mean, obviously I was 5 years old. I'm not going to be able to like play video games super well. But then after that, I don't think I played much more on the DS. But that's when I got like onto the Xbox 360, and I found stuff like Minecraft, Terraria, Plants vs Zombies. Funnily enough, most of the games that I make content for now, but are all like the games that I found really early on in my childhood, and the ones I became most attached with, I guess. So, and then after that, it's kind of just been, well, as of recent, it's more just been Roblox, Fortnite, and that's kind of, those are the newest games that I still play constantly, apart from all the ones in my childhood. Oh yeah, of course, some honourable mentions. I should probably say Castle Crashers, Battle Block Theatre, like all the Behemoth games. I remember when I found those, those were some of my biggest obsessions for a while. I think that's all. I think that's pretty much a good summary of that question. But yeah, next one. Next one is from, oh god, I don't actually know your name, but I know who you are. You've been on my server for like a long time, but your name is literally just like, I think your name is just Who Am I or something like that. But in the server, your nickname is just the YouTube URL. So I hope I got that right. I can't actually check because I'm just looking at screenshots, but what was the first story you ever cherished experiencing? Another really good question that kind of links back to when I mentioned previously, well, when I answered previously about games, and because most of what I consumed when I was younger was games, it's probably gonna be Battle Block Theatre on that front, because I think that was the first game I can remember, like, the end credits actually getting me really emotional after, like, I'd been really invested in the story for the whole time. And I played that when I was like 7 or 8 years old, and there's no doubt there was some stories, like maybe from books, that got at me before then, but I just can't remember that far back. But yeah, Battle Block Theatre, even today, like, it's got a really good story despite how much of a silly game it is. But yeah, I guess that's the answer to that one. But next question. Are there any songs you want to remake other than Remakes? Okay, I think that is for Terraria ProvEdition, so... well, two immediately come to mind, and that is Carol of the Deathly Cold, which is our Frost Moon theme, but also Towering Mistakes, which is the theme of the Pillars. As of recent, those two themes I've really felt like coming back to, but I don't know when or when I'd want to. It would make sense to do the Frost Moon theme next month, but I don't think I have the time for that, nor do I really feel motivated to do it currently. It's just kind of like a thought that's been on my mind for a while. As for an immediate remake, there's one aside from the two I just mentioned, but I'm not going to say anything more about that, because there is a high chance you'll be seeing it in the near future. But yeah, it's quite vague, but just take that as a hint. This is from Sulfur, who is the director of the Ancient Biomes mod that I'm currently working on. What's your favourite kind of music to make? You know, like biome themes, boss music, remixes, etc. Well, remixes are my least favourite, but that's not really what the question was asking. So my favourite kind to make is absolutely biome themes, without a doubt. I feel like it's always been my really strong point, making biome or like ambient music. Some of my best examples are Mantle from Ancients Awakened, Submerged, which was also for Ancients Awakened, even though it's not like canon or anything. What else? ProvEdition. Yeah, I did biome themes for that. Vermilion Carcass, Rotten Insides is the underground theme. I guess that still counts. Rotten Insides, Purely Sickening. What other biome themes? Well, I guess that's enough of an example for now, but yeah, biome themes are absolutely my strong point in just music making for a long time. But that doesn't mean I only want to do them. I do like also making boss themes. I just kind of wish I was better at those, but practice makes perfect, and I'm just going to keep making them over time and see what happens. Next question. What are your thoughts on Australian lungfish? Thank you, Crimson, for this question. I'm not much of a fish person in general. I think it looks pretty cool from the image you provided. Just a little fish guy, cool. I don't know what else to say on that question, but yeah. Oh, and it's another question from Crimson. Do you plan on making more AA fan themes? No, not at the minute, no. Well, it's kind of, because if some of you all remember, I did make a remake of Loose Cannon for the 5th anniversary of the channel earlier this year. And to go alongside that, I was thinking of remaking Waste of Space, In the Red, and The Ancient Void at some point. Again, though, like what I said about the ProvEdition remakes, I don't know when that'll happen. The thing with remakes is that I don't feel as motivated to just suddenly get on with making them as I would with just a new original theme. Mainly because it's something I've already done before, and it's more of like a repetitive process, I guess. But those two definitely could happen at some point, but other than that, I think I just kind of want to leave AA to be done, because it's just something I should move on from and focus on what I'm actually doing in the present. But I appreciate the question anyway. Next question. This is from Sub. If you could make the OST for any entry in any series, any media series, TV, game, etc., what would it be? I don't know. Because obviously the whole thing with ProvEdition is that it's been my own takes on existing soundtracks. But I don't really know if my style would go with anything in particular that I haven't done before. I guess I guess it would just kind of. I mean, this is probably another boring answer, but it would be for the things I've already made ProvEdition soundtracks for. If I could like get an official ProvEdition appearance in Terraria or like The Escapists, that would mean more to me than like anything ever, because it's something I've already put like care and love into, and having that like pay off for something in the long run would just be the best feeling. But with there's just so much stuff out there, it's really hard to pick like a specific answer for this, but it's a very interesting question anyway, and I'll probably think a lot more about it after this video. Next one is from Scopa, who, like, that's his Discord name, but many of you will know him as the amazing and talented Maestro VGM. What's your thought process when writing melodies, progressions, and when deciding instrumentation? It is completely random. I have never had any kind of solid thought process ever when composing. It just kind of comes to me like over time. Like, I don't know. It's all in what my brain tells me to do, essentially. Like, just to make a Deltarune reference here, it's like having the soul constantly dictate what choices I make. That's how it feels sometimes. It's like when I'm making a song, I'm not the one like in control of it. It's just what the thoughts in my head say to me at the time. But I guess for like external factors, like the kind of genre of song I kind of already have a vague idea of when making a project, which usually comes down to the biome it's for. That's usually a good thing that helps us decide something. Like, if I was ever asked to make a boss theme for something, I would ask for like its aesthetic or vibe, or like what biome it belongs to, before actually making the theme first, because that really helps me decide instrumentation in particular. Melodies and progressions though, I didn't, like, up until recently, I haven't known as much music theory, so that has been entirely random and without like much thought behind it, because I didn't know the reasons for why you would do things a certain way or whatnot. But maybe after like I've been at university for a longer time, I'll have a better idea of that. I've only been here for 2 months so far, and I'm still learning quite a bit. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I wish I had more to talk about in terms of my creative process, but at the end of the day, it really just is very spontaneous. But I don't mind, because some of my best projects have been made that way. Next is from Dawn, who is also the person who did the amazing artwork for Plague Nation Matrix 300, my 5th anniversary video. Of all of ProvEdition, this encapsulates all ProvEdition projects like Escapist, Terraria, and PvZ. Which of your songs would you consider your proudest work, and why? I cannot pick one out of all these 3, so what I'm going to do instead is pick one song from each project that I think is my best work. From Terraria ProvEdition, that is going to have to go to Raining Rain, which is the rain theme, and that is simply because it is just a completely timeless song. I've tried to update it many times across the years to give it a more modern quality about it, but I can just never make something that I feel like is better than the original. I made that in May of 2020, and it is still one of my most iconic songs to date, and I think it still holds up really well, like even now. And for that reason, I'm just so proud of it, and it also makes me feel quite nostalgic. From the Escapist ProvEdition, this was a tough choice. It was between either Soap Opera, the shower block theme for In Scheme, or the main menu theme, Make Your Move. And I'm going to give it to Make Your Move because it's probably, in my opinion, the best menu theme that I've made. I know some people disagree with that because my Ancients Awakened menu themes are very well beloved. But something about Make Your Move, I feel like it really just it establishes the start of something really important. It establishes the start of a story. And it also utilises motifs very well compared to some of my other tracks. The reason I didn't give it a soap opera is because that's a very similar track thematically to Raining Rain, and I kind of made it to be the Escapist's equivalent of Raining Rain, but yeah, Make Your Move is my best work from Escapist ProvEdition so far. But we aren't even a third of the way through the full soundtrack, so that'll definitely change, I hope. And for Plants vs Zombies ProvEdition, which is also still in progress, I'd say the best theme up until now is Shallow End. I think that has some of my best songwriting work up to this date. It feels, what I always feel when I listen back to it, it feels like a real song. It feels like something I could really hear in a game, which isn't something I always feel with some of my other music. But it's just something I am very proud of. I showed my music theory tutor during my first lesson with her, and she thought it was really amazing. So that was a very helpful, like, it's a good sign that I'm doing something well with these Plants vs Zombies tracks. But yeah, these are what I'd say are my best work from ProvEdition so far. And some of you might be surprised that it isn't like Awoken or the Lace Swing Effect or one of these other bigger songs that have like had a much bigger impact on people. But to me, those are really what I'm just proud of after all this time. Next question is from Loco. What was the first piece of media you can remember leave a lasting impact on you? Well, I feel like this is quite similar to the other question about like what was the first story that really had an impact on me. So I'm not going to give the same answer again, but this time I'm going to give it to Terraria, which obviously it's what I've made so much content on for the past few years. But Terraria I found when I was about 8 years old again. It was through Stampy's playthrough, which is I feel like what many people found Terraria through. And I remember watching that like over and over, and then after so long, even though I already know a lot of what happened in the game, I went to buy it. Well, I asked my parents to buy it for us, and then I just never went back. It's been my favourite game ever since 2013, and I don't think I'll ever find a game that I enjoy more than Terraria and play consistently for a longer amount of time. But then again, it's been mods that have largely like carried me through that interest, especially for these past few years. I think if I just played vanilla Terraria for like since 2020, I would have been bored of it by now. But yeah, shout out to Terraria mods. They've really kept my interest in this game going. But ultimately, Terraria is what was the first piece of media to leave a lasting impact on me. And how many more questions? Oh, we've got one more. We've got one more question. This was from YouTube. It is from Rebel Spy, who I think is also on the... Yeah, Rebel Spy is also, like, part of Ancient Biomes team, I'm pretty sure. What have been your favourite Terraria mods to compose for? Ancients Awakened is the obvious choice, considering how much I did for that mod and how much quality I put into the work I did there. But I think apart from that, it's going to be Enigma mod. Well, even though I didn't technically work on Enigma, I just kind of did fan tracks for it. But some of them were deemed canon by Logic, apparently, even though the mod hasn't been updated in years, so they haven't been implemented or anything. But I did 12 tracks for Enigma, and it was some of my most underrated work, I feel like, especially my themes for Hypothema, Andesia and Dioritis, and most importantly, the Motherboard. Oh god, was it called that? No, the Annihilator, god, what am I saying? The Annihilator, whose theme called Cognition that I made. Some of that is my best work from like 2 years ago, and I feel like if I remade that stuff now, obviously though that isn't likely to happen with what I said about Remakes before, that is probably what I would go back to remake in like a more high quality mix, because some of that work is just really, really good, and probably the peak of what I made in T-Mod. So Ancients Awakened, Enigma mod, maybe SGA mod as well. Those are what I've enjoyed composing for the most in T-Mod, the T-Mod community. And that was our last question, and I've been talking for 18 whole minutes somehow. But thank you very much for listening to this Q&A. I hope I wasn't stuttery throughout it, because my voice is a bit like sore at the minute, so I've been kind of, I don't know, I feel like I've been kind of monotone in this video, but please look past that. This is my first time trying one of these, and if anything, I just hope it was like calm, and I didn't want it to be too energetic. The background footage I've chosen probably suggests that I want to go for a more calm feel, but yeah, that is all for now, and hopefully I will see you guys with the next music upload this month, which at the minute is looking to be another Plants vs Zombies ProvEdition or Escapist ProvEdition upload, depending on which I feel like doing first. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.